Okay, so I have taken some more mixed bank kind of questions from BPP Kit, and from different chapters. I have taken two or three questions. And the first of all, I'm going to read the requirement of this. Which of the following statements relating to absorption and marginal costing are true? Okay, so this question has been taken from the topic absorption and marginal, and the first statement says that is inventory level rise, marginal costing profit will be higher than absorption costing profit. And the second is fixed production costs are treated as period cost under marginal costing. And there are four options A, B, C, D. The option A says that both statements are incorrect. B says that both statements are correct. C thinks that statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is not. And D says that statement 2 is correct, but statement 1 is incorrect. So what do you think that what should be the right answer? First, you try. All right, so let me do it that if you see, and I'm giving you an explanation regarding statement 1. It is saying that as inventory level rise means what? It means that closing is more than opening inventory, right? And tell you the short trick. I have this topic has been explained in the lecture video. If you watch, if you want to get the full grip over this topic about marginal and absorptional, so you can just rewatch the videos, I would suggest. But if I just tell me the trick, if you see this question and how to remember that what should be the right answer, I'm just telling you one trick that you can say a I'm writing here ABC, right? ABC I'm writing here, and then I'm writing here M and O. Okay, okay, and then I'm just making it this C, A, and C, because you can just see that after A comes B and then C. Okay, so remember these letters. And if I just see the arrangement in the English alphabet, that M, after M, N comes and then O. I'm making them bold. B is not the matter of fact, like you can just skip. And like A, B, and C. So these are the closest letters you see. So I suggest my students that here why I'm writing it A B C, and then I removed B. I removed B because my purpose is that I want to explain something regarding A and C. So if you see these two letters, what I'm doing, sorry for that. Insert, I have to insert some lines. Yeah. So A means absorption costing. Okay, so absorption costing is coming from A. You can say it starts from A. And if I just talk about closing, so closing means that it is coming from C. It starts from C, right? And if I just talk about marginal, so marginal, the spelling of marginal comes from M. And if I write here opening, opening starts from what? O. So when you see that which will give the higher profit and which will give the lower profit, remember this trick. In exam, you can write like that, that first write here absorptional and then write closing, opposite absorption costing. And marginal opposite would be opening because A, B, C and M and O. Then do you understand whatever I'm saying right now? Or you don't
Yes,
understand? Are you
I
getting?
understand.
Are you getting? So you can just remove this costing figure as well. Simply absorptional, marginal, and closing we will write here because after A, B comes. So then B, what would come? C would come, and M and O. That is why I'm saying that write it like that. And then remember when you see this question that which will give the higher profit or lower profit, remember whenever the inventory level is higher in both cases. I'm just thinking what I'm telling about the both cases. Uh, you can't see. You can say that. Yeah, here that like when the closing is higher. Okay, in both cases. When the closing units are higher, then absorption will give you the higher profit. When closing is more, are you getting, closing units are more than opening? Closing is more, so absorption will give you the higher profit. If opening is more, then marginal will give you the higher profit. Do you understand this? Will you remember this point tomorrow or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you can write A, B, C. So absorption relates from closing and marginal relates from opening. When closing is more, so absorptional will give you the higher profit. If opening is more, so marginal will give you the higher profit. Simple, remember the more, that whichever is the more. It means that here 400 and here 300. Okay, it means this is the thing, and you can just make it like that, right? So which will give you, here it is 4, here 3. So here closing will, absorption will give you the higher profit, right? But if in this case, here this is 200 and it is, you can say anything like 500, it is more. So which will give you the higher profit? Marginal, because this is more. To understand? And this is less. Okay, Dhiren?
Yes, ma'am.
So remember just this trick because tomorrow is your exam. Okay, the next thing is fixed production costs are treated as period cost under marginal costing. So as you know that in absorptional, what we do that in cost of sales, we just add, we consider variable cost plus you can say fixed production overhead. We add, but here in cost of sales, what do we do? We just consider variable cost, right? So when in this way, that when we deduct this from a revenue, what do we get? We get contribution, right? And here when we deduct revenue, like from like variable cost, no, I'm just, what I'm doing here, I have to write the contribution. Here we get the gross profit. Here we get the gross profit. Here we just, when we do less, here we less and then less. So in this case, then we, when we get the, what I'm doing, sorry, cost of sales we less, here we also less. So we get the gross profit here, and here we get the contribution. So when we get the contribution, gross profit, so here we just less again what? Fixed cost. And it is considered a period cost. Okay, so the fixed production cost, let me write here. Fixed production cost, when we deduct from our contribution, we get the profit, right? We get the profit, or sometimes we also less some other fixed costs like non-production fixed costs we can also deduct. Non. So then we get that we can less all of it. But this fixed production cost is considered as a period cost, but and here we do not deduct after gross profit. We can just deduct other, just like non-production fixed cost, we can deduct after gross profit and we can get the net profit. But as you can see that here fixed production cost as a unit based as a OAR is included in the cost of sales, like in the unit cost. So when there are the closing units, so we take this period cost to the next period as well. Fixed production overhead cost we take to the next period as well. So this is why we do not deduct as full, but here we it is considered the period cost. We do not take one period cost to the next period, and it is fully deducted from contribution, and we get the profit. So this is the main difference. The main difference between marginal and absorption is not the non-production fixed cost, because here as well we deduct the non-production fixed cost. The difference is only the fixed production cost. Here we just completely deduct, and here we add it in the unit cost. Do you understand that? So this is why D is the right answer, right?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
So the next one is this one, and I'm going to read that first. It says that what is the closing inventory valuation at 30th June 2000 X3 under absorption costing? What is the closing inventory valuation? Okay. And it is saying that a manufacturing company makes one product which uses 2 kg of raw material per unit of product. Okay. So one unit takes 2 kg of raw material. Okay. At a cost of $3.8 per kg. So the rate is, I can write here, 3.8. Each unit of the product requires 2.5 hours of labor, 2.5 hours of labor, and this is the rate. And which is paid at 7.8 per hour. Okay. So the this hourly rate should I should write here rate. Okay. 3.8, and it is they're saying the rate for the labor rate is 7.8, right? The company incurs fixed production cost of 6,000 per unit. So the fixed production cost is 6,000 per unit. All right. Per month, sorry. And the factory produces 2,000 units of the product each month. And the production is 2,000 units. There is no inventory of the product at 1st June 2000 X3, but only 1,600 units of the product were sold in June. So the sold units were 1,600, and then opening is 0. And there must be some closing as well, because whenever we want to know, we must know that what is the closing as well. We can calculate the closing. Okay, so how we are going to do it? It is saying that what is the closing inventory valuation at 30th June, and whether let me tell you one thing before you solve or you say something. You know that how do we calculate cost of sales? Opening plus production and then closing. Okay. In marginal, in absorption costing, what happens that in cost of sales we add these two: fixed cost per unit and variable cost per unit. Okay, we just add these two and then multiply with the opening in production and closing. But in marginal, we just take variable cost. So if you remember this point, you can easily get the answer. You need to, they are asking about the closing inventory. You need to calculate the closing inventory. and whatever the data is available, you need to see which one is the variable cost, because here we have to consider both fixed cost, and they are also telling you that fixed production cost is this. And how do you get the OAR, like fixed production overhead will be called OAR, that you will divide it with this 2000 and you will get OAR as well. But you need to also calculate the variable cost. So first you try, then I will try. All right, so let's calculate it. How to do it? It's very, very easy. And how it's easy, that it says that to make 1 unit, we need 2 kgs of raw material, and that per material cost is 3.8. So I just calculated it, that you, if you multiply this with this, so you will get this answer. So this is material cost, and then you need to calculate the labor cost. And how did I do that? To make 1 unit, labor spent 2.5 hours, and the hourly rate is this. So if I'm doing it, I'll get this. So this will be my variable cost. Let's add these two up, and this is our variable cost, right? And let me tell you how did I do it. This is the variable cost, and fixed production cost, how we can just calculate per unit, that simply we need to divide production fixed production cost from the production units. You will get this answer. So through 3 will be the thing. And you know that opening, production, and like we add these two, and we less closing. This is the way of calculating. And you know one more thing, that in all three, opening, production, or closing, you write, if I'm just talking about the production, you will need to calculate it like that. Like these three, two, this one and this one. This is our OAR. We'll add these two, right? So we have to multiply. If there are no opening, so there are no opening, so it means zero opening. So we'll say that 0 multiplied with this, right? And then production units are this multiplied by this 2000. We can calculate if we want to, but we do not need to calculate this. And closing, we do not know. Closing will be production. We produced 2000, we sold 1600. So how much will be our closing? And there is no opening. So you can just deduct sold units from production units. You will get 400 is the answer. And it is only asking about you for 400, like for closing inventory valuation. So as you know that we need to just multiply 400 by this. So we'll get this answer. This is our answer for 3.16. This is our answer. Okay. So you know that if you just skip these two, so it will not affect over your answer. No need to spend so much time in calculating, because why you are going to calculate, let me show you here as well. You can see this formula, that this you have you multiplied 30.10 dollars from zero inventory. Here you just, with the same 2000 production units, you took the same uh, fixed cost. And you know that variable cost and fixed cost, if you write it like that, if uh, you are just considering, like in marginal, you just consider variable cost. So variable cost is called marginal cost. You are deducting only variable, so it means this is the marginal cost. And here variable cost plus fixed cost, this is called this is called absorptional cost. Understand? So this is the thing. So this is our absorptional cost. Which one? This one. You need to just do it like that. So no need to calculate these two. I would suggest what you are supposed to do is just quickly calculate in exam, that what about the material complete for 1 unit, material rate, and then labor, and then just add these two. You will get the variable cost. This is the variable cost, and this is the OAR, right? These two you will add, and then you will multiply it with the whatever it is asking about. It can ask about the production unit cost. You can just, if it is asking you, then you can simply do 2000 multiplied with this. You will get this answer. If it is asking, if it's not asking, so you need to calculate, just do it like that. In marginal, what we are supposed to do now, because closing is 400, and in marginal, closing is also 400. So here, what we will do, can anybody tell me with 400, how, from which rate I will multiply?
We are going to multiply with 27.1. We are not going to include fixed production
Yes,
cost.
exactly. Here it is also an answer. Like it's very simple. You can, as you can see, that only in this question we spent enough time, but this one we can easily calculate. And here answer is B, and here answer is
A.
A. A. Dhiren, do you understand? How did I do it?
Yes, ma'am, I got it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So let's move forward to the next question. What it is saying, it's related to reapportionment to the production cost center. Why? It's saying that what is the total reapportionment to production cost center? Why? And the reapportionment, as you know, that there is a concept of allocation and apportionment, and then apportionment. Allocation is something that whenever you are just trying to just trace or add the, you are going to charge on like complete cost on only one cost center. This is called allocation, that fully you are maybe if you, I can say that, let's suppose it is not normally happens, but I'm just saying that electricity cost, if only there are there are three cost centers. Okay, one, two, and three, and the electricity is consumed only in this cost center, only in this. So you would charge electricity cost to only one cost center. So this is called allocation, that full cost of electricity you are charging to only one department. This is called allocation. But let's suppose the electricity cost, that there are two or more cost centers which are sharing the same cost, like electricity is consumed in department 2 and 3 as well. Let's think. So you are just going to divide or share the cost of, like, whatever the 100% electricity cost, you are just going to allocate to only one production center. So we'll say that it will be called allocation if it is being shared between two or more. So this is called apportionment. Okay, but there are sometimes cases that there are more, like with production cost centers, or there are in production cost center, there are some service. Let me write here, production cost center. There are also service cost center. So why these service cost centers are working? Just because of this production cost center. So when you also just going to charge, maybe there are two service cost center, and this electricity charge is going to be applied on it, like in this service cost center, it is also consumed. They are consuming electricity here as well. So first of all, what you would do, this cost you will divide in here, and maybe the, you can say the 60% share department 2 is taking production cost center, and maybe the 30, or we can say, let's write 20% here, it is being used, and it means that 80% done. So now maybe the 10% is going to be consumed here, or 10% here. Let's suppose, just make creating an example. First you are going to just do it. So when you are just taking this cost, and this you are sharing the cost into different cost center, this method is called, this act is called apportionment. But when once the apportionment is done, then you have to just reapportion the service cost center to the production cost center, and you will make these costs nil. You will say that you will say that these will be nil. Okay, you will make it zero. I can write it here as well. So what would you do? That you will see that how much portion you will charge to the this one, and protection cost center 1, 2, and 3. So when you are just reapportionment, you are doing that you are making it nil. The service cost center's cost. So you are this method is called reapportionment. So it is saying that there are two production cost center and two service cost center in a factory. Two production cost center and two service cost center. Production overheads have been allocated in apportion to the cost center and now require reapportionment from service cost center to production cost center. So as I said that this two has been done in this question. You don't need to do it. Only reapportionment is remaining. So relevant details are there. Like this is the service cost center A and service cost center B, and total overheads this. Like as I said, that 10% and 10%. So you can say this is A and this is B. So the total you can say the overhead cost is, I can write here 4200 here, and here it is 57600, right? This is the thing. I'm just writing. So now it is saying, and no need to write it like that. And you can just remove these. Yes. Yes. So production cost center Y, X, and Y. These are two, right? So as it is saying that percentage to production cost center, so that X is 40%, and the share which is for production cost center X is 55%. Okay. And the percentage to production cost center Y is 60%, and it is 45% for this. Yes. So total overheads of service cost center A is 42,000, and if you see this data, it says that 40% of 42,000 is charged to department X, and 42,000 60% is charged to department cost, like production cost center Y. Here as well, the service cost center B, the total overhead and total overheads and allocated and apportioned cost is 57,600. And from this, 55% of 57,600 is 55% is charged to X, and 45 is to Y. So no need to just think so much about X. Just focus on Y, and you need to check that this 42,000, the 60% of 42,000 would be what, and 45% of 57,600 would be what. You need to just do it, and add these two up, whatever the answer is, and this will be your final answer. Yes, can anybody tell me the final answer? And I have to just check for the Y. Let me write. I'm writing. And you can also tell me that Y. So I can write here 60%, and here I can say 45%. Is that okay? Because service cost center A, the total cost. So 60% of 42,000 is charged to Y. Do you understand that? So simply
Yes, ma'am.
you need to multiply it with 60%. You will get this. and see if you multiply this with this, so you will get this.
The
And
answer
just add
should be the answer should be C.
C should be the answer. So it's very simple calculation. I was just taking so much time in explaining. Otherwise, when you see, simply check the requirement. It's saying about Y. So simply write like this, or do not need to write in your directly in your calculator. You can simply do this calculation, that 42,000 multiplied by 60%, you will get the answer. And then 57,600 multiplied by 45%, you will get. And then you will add these two figures and we'll get the final answer, which is C. Very easy one. Let's see one more. Okay, the same kind of, but there is an, you people are going to do it. I'm going to just read the requirement. What amount should be apportioned to the store cost center for rent and rates? So it is not reapportionment, it is apportionment question. A factory has two production cost center, assembly and finishing. These are the names of the cost center, assembly and finishing, not X and Y. Here saying that assembly and finishing, as well as two service cost center, maintenance and stores. The rental rates for the next period is anticipated to be $40,000. The floor area occupied by each of the cost centers is assembly 2000 square meter and finishing is 1400, stores 1000, and maintenance 6000. So how you are going to do it is quite simple. If you do not understand, then I am going to tell you that how to do it.
It's going to
Okay, as we did, I made up one data that let's suppose there are three people, person A, person B, and person C, and they ate different number of burgers. And person A ate three burgers, and B ate two, and C ate only one. So it means how many burgers were eaten? Six burgers in total. And they got this total bill. 120 is the total amount of bill which they have to pay. But as you if you see that how much amount you should take from person A and how much should be charged to person B, and how much should we collect from person C. You can see that this is the way you are going to calculate, that you have to just how many burgers he ate, three, and you will divide it with the total number of burgers, six, and you will multiply it with the cost, total cost. Then you will get the answer 60. Here I just divided two multiplied by two divided by six and multiplied by the cost, total cost, and then you will get the answer 40. This is the way you can calculate. So same you is going to be applied here, that how, like you can say that assembly department, and then you can write finishing department, you can write here stores, you can write here maintenance, right? And you can just see that here I'm going to write 2000, 1400, 1000, and then 600, and then just add these, we'll get this 5000. Here we got 6. Okay, so now what I will do that and you can say that the overheads are 40,000 here, right? And we need to just calculate the stores department. So simply I would do what, that this divided by this and multiplied with this, and you will get the answer 8,000, which is B. How did I do it? And the formula you can just remember to solve this kind of question. The department base divided by the total base and divide, and you can just multiply it by cost. Remember this, please. This is the formula you are going to apply when you see this total base is 5000 here. So department only this you need to calculate. So no need to calculate all of them. So 1000 square meter for stores, You will department base. So stores is 1,000, total is 5,000, and then multiplied with the total cost, which is 40,000. So this is the way our answer is B. Okay. As I said that allocation, let me write here. Okay. What's the difference? Allocation means full cost is charged to only one cost center. This is the meaning of allocation. Here we are not charging the full cost. This is the 40,000. This is we are applying. This is the apportionment, and it's saying that what amount should be apportioned. We can because in exam you have short time, so that is why it is giving you that it is very easy that it is not asking you to just calculate all the departments allocation apportion cost. This is only apportionment, and you are showing the apportionment only this you can say stage of apportionment. This is not the allocation. You cannot mix these two concepts. If it is asking for only one, this 40,000 you just divide, like you are just giving the share of stores department, which is 8,000. If 40,000 complete is charged to stores, then it will be called the allocation. Do you understand?
Yes, I'm clear now. I'm clear.
That's great. Okay, so these two are the theory-based question. It says that what is the term that is used to describe the process of charging an entire expense to a single cost center? Very easy. Yes, please. A, B, C, D.
It's A.
A.
It's A, allocation. That's wonderful. Okay, next, what is the term used to describe the process of sharing an expense amongst a number of cost center?
B.
Apportionment. B.
Exactly. Apportionment. Do you understand the concept now?
Yes.
That's wonderful. Okay, the next one is now it's related to the labor efficiency ratio. What is the labor efficiency ratio to the to one decimal place? It says that during quarter two, a manufacturing business had budgeted for 12,000 labor hours to be worked. The actual hours worked were 11,400, and the standard hours of production were 10,800. Efficiency ratio of labor you need to calculate. Please let me know the right answer, and you have to apply just one formula and you can easily calculate. Okay, so the it's very easy, and let me say that S, A, and B. S stands for standards, A stands for actual, and B stands for budgeted. So what I do, that the short trick which I tell to my students, that simply do what you can write in exam SAB if you ever because it can ask you that efficiency ratio, capacity ratio, or production volume. So how will you do if you and you need to remember this. First you will calculate efficiency, then capacity, and so remember the sequence if you want to remember this trick. So whenever you divide from standard uh, divided by budgeted, or standard divided by actual, you will get the efficiency ratio. Okay, and if you divide actual by budgeted, so you will get what? Will get what?
Capacity.
Capacity. Then you remember this mnemonics. I remember. I tell my students to remember sub. So SAB. So you are doing it like that. So in exam, you will never forget. If you are getting confused at which figures you need to take. You remember this, that this two, okay, and then remember here you need to do it like this. And if you need to calculate the production volume, then you need to see it like that. This and this is related to production volume. Okay, production volume. Remember this. You need to divide sub standard divided by budgeted, so we'll get the production volume ratio. All right, so here you can see, as you people already told me, that the standard will be divided by actual because we are calculating the efficiency ratio. So standard hours are 1080, 800, and divided by 11400, right? And we'll multiply it with 100, we'll get this. And our answer is B, right? So capacity, utilization ratio, and production volume. As I told you this, I know that you know, but let's try. Let's remember this. All right. So what is the labor capacity utilization ratio to the one decimal place? During quarter two, manufacturing business had budgeted for 12,000 labor hours to be worked. The actual hours worked were 11,400 and the standard hours of production were 10,800. So please try. This one, if you divide standard by actual, you will get efficiency ratio, actual divided by budgeted hours, capacity, and if you divide standard by budget, you will get production volume. So what's the right answer?
The first one is C, 95%.
Let me see if your answer is correct. Okay, so labor capacity actual is 11,400 divided by budgeted 12,000, and we'll divide multiplied with 100, we'll get 95, right? So C is the right answer. And what about the next one, please? Standard hours 10800, right? We'll
It's
divide
going to be D,
D.
105 point, yeah, 105.6.
Okay, what I'm doing, did I make a mistake? Standard divided by budgeted. So standards are 10800 and budgeted 12,000. So it's 90. What do you think? Why, how can you say the answer is
Okay.
D?
It's 90. It's A.
No, okay, it's my mistake. I did standard divide by actual.
No, standard, why I did, because I made it green. Like standard, you will divide by budget. Do you understand? Don't you understand this logic which I told you? Here, what you will do, if you need to calculate efficiency, you will just divide these two. Consider these two, right? If you want to calculate capacity, you will consider these two, A and B, right? But for production volume, you have to just divide it like that. Standard divided by budgeted, which are in green color. Do you understand, Dhiren?
Yes, I get that now.
And please remember these tricks when you are in exam. You can quickly write this. When you see this question, I suggest write this and focus on this trick. You will not make any mistake. Okay. So the last one is related to the direct labor costs for the month. What is the direct labor cost for the month? And it's saying that during the month of September 2000X3, the following labor hours were worked. Direct production worker, 2,300 basic hours plus 500 hours of overtime. Let me write here, like basic, basic, this is 2300, and the overtime is 500, right? And indirect labor says that 640 and 120, including 120. Okay. So the direct, and it is only asking about the direct labor cost. So you don't need to focus on indirect labor, just think about the direct. The direct workers are paid a basic rate of $7.2. So the basic rate is, let me write here is this one. Yes, the basic rate is 7.8. Oh, I have to write here 7.8. This is the rate. And it says that
So, madam, it's 7.2.
okay, thanks for correction. It's 7.2. Yeah. And it's saying that, and the indirect worker 6.2. I'm not going to write the details of indirect in exam as well. You can skip the irrelevant information. And it is saying that overtime hours are paid at the time and a half. So the time and a half, so it means premium.
Yes, we know.
So premium rate would be what? If simply you divide it with
3.6.
3.6. Okay. So the overtime rate would be what? Overtime rate would be what?
It will be 10.8.
Yeah, the overtime rate would be 10.8 because the premium is 3.6. And the overtime premium for direct labor is classed as an indirect cost. So premium is indirect for direct workers, and it is not because the overtime is not done on a special request from a customer. That is why it is considered as an indirect. Of the hours paid to the direct production workers, 100 of these were idle time hours. So the 100 were the idle time hours. Okay. And of the hours paid to the direct production workers, 100 of them were the idle time hours. So idle time, you can say that 100 for the idle time. So what is the direct labor cost for the month? What do you think? What should be the right answer? Can you please tell me? First calculate and then come up with the right answer. Try. You know that what I this idle time is, it is saying that of the hours paid to the direct production workers, 100 of these were idle time hours. So it means that when you say that these two like they worked for, like total hours worked 2800, 2800. So in those, what would happen, that 100 would be the idle time hours, and idle time hours is also it is also an indirect cost, right? So idle time hours are like how do they get paid for the idle time? The same basic rate, but it is considered as an indirect cost. So you need to remember that these are the things that basic they work normal hours and then overtime. So if I added these two, so I get 2800, and in this 2800 hours, 100 is the idle time hour. So you will not calculate it. And overtime is as well. You remember that overtime is paid in this way. So I can just remember this in this uh, premium is included. So overtime, I'm writing here because I want you to just tell me the right answer. Overtime, you can say divide into two ways. That overtime is paid the way like one is basic rate and one is premium, right? So basic rate is 7.2 and the premium rate is, let me copy this. So the total payment of overtime is this, which I wrote. So when you are, and this basic overtime basic is direct cost and this is indirect cost. And that's asking you only calculate the direct cost of the month. So you will not add this premium here. You understand my point? I hope that you get it. So the rate I wrote it overtime would be this, but the complete rate. But here this is the indirect. Here you can say it is a mixed, direct, indirect, mixed. This is only direct and this is indirect. So you need to focus that you will pay for this 500 to the labor as an indirect, but only the basic rate would be considered indirect, not the complete including premium. Now let me know the final answer.
Oh, I was getting the answer.
What you are getting? What answer you are getting? Okay. So let's see what is the right answer. And as it says that 2300 basic hours, 500 overtime hours, and I did that this is the total hours spent, right? And in this total hours, you see that idle time hours are 100. So this is you need to deduct, and total hours worked would be minus 100. So the labor worked for 2700 hours and one is was the idle time hours, and try and understand that they would be they will get paid for this as well, this one 7.2, and in this they will get the same rate here. This is the thing, okay, and they will get paid, and it's 2800. 500 hours you can say was overtime, right? And in those overtime I told you that it is the overtime we can give into two costs, in two ways, like one is basic, one is premium. So in 500 uh, you are going to just give the premium, which is 3.6 as well. And if I just calculate the premium 3.6 here, so you will get that how much as a premium cost they get, this was be given to you, okay, to them. Okay, so now what would we will do is simply you need to multiply this 2700 by what? With this rate, and you will get 119,440. And this is C is your final answer. It's quite simple. If you don't understand, I will explain it again. And how? Try understand. It says the direct cost. So direct is always the basic rate to basic rate to direct workers, except the idle time. Idle time, idle time is paid at basic rate, but it is an indirect cost because labor is not working. Labor, you can say labor didn't work these hours. So remember this. So that basic rate you have to just check, except the idle time. So I told you that when we checked that how many hours they worked, 2300 plus overtime 500. In this overtime basic rate, this overtime basic is this and this, and in overtime how many hours they worked, for 500 hours they worked, and this is also for 500. Like you will multiply it with this if you want to check the rate, the total, like this is the thing, and you will multiply it with, if you want to calculate the full for overtime, how much did you pay for overtime to them, you can just do it, and you can just check this is the overtime, total overtime wage that you paid to the labor. This is the thing. But here you, this is only direct and this is indirect. That is why we will not calculate the premium. We would just consider this one. And in this, what we did, you can just do it like that. Basic, basic. In either way, you can calculate 2300, or you can just say that idle. You have to just deduct. You can just deduct, right? And then overtime, work for 500, and you can think that okay, you are going to calculate or add these two up. So 27 hours, you can say worked hours, they would you have to pay them as an indirect. So simply, what is this, the rate, basic rate, you have to multiply with, and then simply you can get the answer, which is this. C is the right answer. Simple. Remember these points only, that whenever it asks about the direct cost of the labor, then direct cost would only be for the direct labor, but not all the cost of the direct labor is considered a direct cost. Some of them are indirect, just like premium if it is not worked on a special request from a customer, and indirect, and the idle time is also indirect cost, whether it is given on the basic rate, but the basic rate is not considered as indirect if it is worked on idle time. So it is not work because they spend the idle time hours. These are the idle time hours. So this is indirect because they didn't work, and this is the direct. So this is the simple trick, and you remember these points, and you can easily calculate the right answer in exam.